Hey, it's kind of full of randomness, and good old Rob here is having an existential crisis because I heard Nowhere Man on the way here. Am I indeed the Nowhere Man in my Nowhere land? Greg, any thoughts?
Nowhere Man in his Nowhere land. You're just nowhere, man.
Why must I be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? But before taking a side-eye view to my guests here, I'm very thrilled. We're very glad to welcome. By now they're trying to run away after hearing that. But I thought you would be bigger. We have Dalton here. And we have the one.
The only.
I'm so sorry I couldn't hold it any longer. And we have the one, the only Buzz-O-Matic, and they're both from Side-Eye. And thanks you guys for coming down here.
Hey. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, a question I want to ask before you'll find we go all over. It's just, I've seen this more and more in terms of bands and just whatever anybody's opinion is, in terms of crowds and bands and behavior. And I'm seeing more like Cyndi Lauper, for example, doesn't want cell phones. She wants people to experience and crowd etiquette and everything. Do you have any thoughts on, like, if you're playing, any band's playing, what you hope the crowd acts like, or anything you don't want to see or hope doesn't happen?
I would say number one, we'd like to see a crowd.
Pretty essential.
Yeah, that's number one. Then we can kind of figure out from there. But
rule number one.
Yeah, but yesterday was fun because we had some older people on our show, and they were like giving us advice on our sound system. So they're asking us to turn down the vocals, which was an important thing because it was louder.
It was a difficult environment, but
it was.
One of the cool things that we see a lot that we really like when we get a good crowd of people, I think it speaks volumes when people are just kind of staring, not in like a negative way, but they're just really taking it in, and you can tell they're enjoying it.
Right, you're giving them something, and they're like, wow, this is interesting. And then
you know what that sounds like? It's like what John Cleese said about touring with Monty Python. He would see, there's no response. But they start looking at the audience. They're like mouthing along.
They were mouthing the words. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and
they knew every
would
single
cheer.
word.
And I think in Japan it's like that too, where it's quiet. You want to listen to the music, the performance, then you cheer.
Yeah.
You know, because I was thinking back when I saw
they're
Bob.
very polite.
When I saw Bob Dylan, 3 shows afterwards, he stopped the show because somebody took a picture. He said, could we pose or play? And I just have that because I saw, like a friend and I saw Ryan Adams before we knew all the naughty stuff. And because we didn't know we were going, we had separate seats. He said he had a guy singing every song. And he's like, we drove 4 hours. Dude, can I just get a 1?
Yeah.
I never really understood that, though, because, I mean, I know you figure everybody knows who you are, and it's distracting maybe for them. I don't know, but you would think, I mean, maybe because we're still kind of like on a local level and we're just trying, we like to play and get people out. I like when people take pictures, because then that's just less promotion you have to do.
Absolutely.
But I don't see why these bands get so weird about, unless they're trying to sell them.
I mean, especially these is, wouldn't you just buy like the live album anyways, or like a professional picture from them? I mean, who cares?
Yeah, I don't get it.
But I mean, look at, like, you're wearing a Grateful Dead shirt. They would let people just come and tape their concerts.
Absolutely.
And everything would be that would be like the best way to get like a front row seat. Hey, I'm going to tape it right up
sure, man. Let your audience spread the word instead of you trying to kill yourself.
Right. That's
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's kind of been our idea, I think. Especially, in my own head, that's been my idea. I don't know if Dalton's in agreement, but I kind of taking the Grateful Dead and the free shows that they did, in San Francisco, and letting people tape and things like that. We were advised not to post our videos of our songs online, and I think we just want to give it away. The music was given to us, so.
Yeah, we're building a bank of like content to start posting more regularly, and just even if it's not a released song on Spotify or stuff, just to get it out there. Something we know people are going to enjoy.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. If you have your stuff somewhat copyrighted and protected, it's on some level, then it shouldn't be too bad, because then at least you can do something about it if somebody tries to sell it. But sharing it, I don't know. I mean, you got to get out there somehow.
Right, and other people, like the picture thing. Like we were at a show on the day of the Kentucky Derby out in Waterloo. We had a couple people dressed up in their cool hats and stuff. And they came up on stage actually while we were playing and took pictures with us.
Yeah, but that says we're a fun band. We like audience participation. We accept you. We embrace you. I mean, to me, that's what those kind of things say.
Yeah, those are people that aren't following us online, most likely. So then other people see that they're taking pictures with us. They had a good time.
Right.
You know, there's a
entertainment.
A school of thought saying people are going to have fun when you make them part of the show.
Right.
Now, I am the opposite, where I am the guy who looks miserable in a corner like this. But like I've been told, we know you're having fun. You just have to be the disassociated writer type.
we used to always joke there'd be like a lot of drummers in the room with their arms folded. I could do that. You know?
Right. I saw something that was like, that's the biggest compliment when another musician's at your show if they have their arms crossed and just,
you know what I would say to that?
Yeah, right.
You know what I used to say, like, actually about certain bands I knew? One thing I would say would be, okay, I can't really just, like, the Mighty High and Dry is a good example. I can't really describe what they do in terms of music, but they're good. But come and see them. But another thing I would say is, this is the band musicians go to see, like for different bands.
Right.
And that would be a thing. But now going to the origin story, how did you get into this? And tell us a little about your other members who are here in spirit.
Yeah, so I'll take that one.
Go.
I was actually, when I moved up to Rochester about 6 years ago. So I started a little 3-piece band with a couple people I met online. We were actually doing Grateful Dead covers at some local breweries. We were maybe 2 or 3 shows in, and then we got COVID. So COVID kind of stopped everything.
Of course, yeah.
The guitar player I was playing with kind of stuck around. Said, hey, there's a guy out in Phelps, New York, about 45 minutes away that wants to put a band together. So we connected with him, and then it was me and my friend Pete and this guy named Michael. Every week I was driving out to Phelps 45 minutes to practice.
Right.
Along the way, about a year after that, maybe, Buzz joined us. We went through a few different drummers, a few different vocalists. Brian showed a lot of interest and commitment, which is really hard to find. So.
Oh yeah, I used to go to Newark for rehearsals and stuff, so I know what you're going through.
Yeah, we're out of Webster now. Some things changed, but one of the maybe a couple weeks into that, we got a Craigslist message from a guy named Evan, and I knew of a person named Evan that played guitar in that area, or out of Rochester or Scottsville, that I played with before. Just brilliant blues guitar player, younger than me. I think he was like 25 or 26 at the time.
Wow.
And I told the guys in the group, I said, if this is that same Evan that I'm thinking it is, do whatever you can to keep him in this band.
Right.
He walked in the door, and I was so excited.
He does stand out listening to your songs.
Yeah, he's
His
the heart and
sound
soul.
is incredible.
It is incredible.
I think you can't teach that, though. You can't teach feel. You know, some people technically can play well. Some people just have it.
Just the amount of time he's put into it and his passion for it really shows. I mean, he's playing everything with his fingers. He's finger picking everything.
Okay, that explains something.
And no pedals.
It's like when I first met him, he could play any Stevie Ray Vaughan song as good as Stevie Ray Vaughan.
So he's a straight overdrive guy. I mean, from what I'm hearing on the recording,
nothing. He has
sounds like he just beats the crap out of some little amp.
Boss Katana amp. That's all he uses.
But it's a great sound. It's that gritty, jangly but distorted. It's a great sound. I just love it.
Kind of no frills.
And as a drummer, I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, Greg. Okay.
Our drummer's name's Mike, and I met him through I kind of did like a once a year cover band for like a charity show.
Yeah.
Met him through a neighbor, and he's a rock solid guy. I mean, he holds a pretty steady beat. Kind of also no frills really. But he can hold me and him, I'm on bass guitar for those that don't know. We have a pretty tight rhythm section that works out, and me and him, we're all pretty chill. I think we got really lucky, like the four of us, we have the same kind of goals and no frills.
Yeah, it's a very good combination.
I think it's like, it sounds to me, two most important aspects you have is it came together sort of organically and you have chemistry. I mean, you could there's a meme that went around. Yeah, it's just a meme. It's a joke. But it's about how there's Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. and the Stones need a bassist and a drummer. And I'm like the one who takes it super serious. First I joked about, would it be better to have Pete Townsend in there, because can you imagine? But I'm saying, yeah, it sounds great, but in terms of music, they might not have the chemistry. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
And then I'm going, why am I taking this stupid meme so seriously?
Well, we did a show together a couple of weeks ago at Radio Social for the flea market thing there that Infrared Radiation was putting together. So I got to see it firsthand, close up and personal, and I really enjoyed it. And it was good that it was before this, so that we had, I had
You
some
mean so
frame
we
of
know what
reference.
we started talking about for once?
Well, no, it's good to have a frame of
I have to
reference.
ask about Greg, that flea market, and both of you. Now, does the sound disrupt the fleas? How's your hearing?
No, the fleas enjoyed it. They hopped around quite a bit. No, but we did a show with it was with Cupid's Boomerang and a bunch of other bands, and then Side I played. You opened the show, right?
Yeah, we opened the show.
Yeah, Infrared Radiation Orchestra, her good old Kim.
That was a great show.
Yeah, it was great. No, and funny, that sounded better than I expected it to in that bowling alley.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I know. It's a great
Open
place.
space.
It's a great place.
What is it about, like, bowling alleys and bands, though? Because I remember, like, one of my friends saw Loverboy at a bowling alley. It's like they come together naturally. It's like I travel a lot for work, and there's, like, in Cicero, New York, and it's by Mexico. There's a Mexico, New York. There's a bowling alley. It's like Friday night gun raffle, sock hop.
well,
Yep.
I'm going to be dating myself here, but
Wow.
well, nobody else will go out with me. So I'm dating myself. Oh, okay. So anyway, back in the late
Strippers and dwarves.
playing,
Happy
coming
New Year, folks.
coming to your house soon, hopefully. So in the 60s, there used to be a lot of the bands here, the local bands, like the Showcase. There were a couple of the local bands that were out there playing. And Brighton Bowl used to have bands and concerts, and Panorama Bowl, I believe. And there were a couple of them. And it was just, you thought nothing of just going to these places to hear bands.
Well, it's like sort of like what would you call it now, like cross-marketing. Kids go bowling. Kids want to hear music.
Right.
Bring them in, no matter how it takes to bring them in.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, you might think, oh, nobody's listening, but you'd be surprised.
Nobody bowling is going to be in a bad mood.
That's
They're
right.
going to be happy and
I
ready
would
to
say
listen
they'd
to
have to
some
bowling in
music.
some leagues the way some people think.
I did the same thing. I agree.
Do you ever get
when you go
those?
for
Like,
fun-
like those characters you wonder, why are these guys even playing where they got like the John McEnroe tempers?
I honestly used to get a little angry.
I did
bowling
for a
because
while,
I was really good at one point. And
Stupid
really
pins.
frustrated.
Well, did you do the secret too, where like when you bowled to try to get your handicap, you purposely tried to tank?
That's sandbagging. I never sandbag. I don't do that. I know some people that have, allegedly. But.
Allegedly.
I was on a teen league once, and it was like so weird. You go there at like 10 o'clock in the morning and you're eating French fries and you're thinking nothing of it. It's like Saturday morning and you're bowling and eating hot dogs.
I always I would go watch bowling on Saturday mornings, and I'm going, this is not a sport. My mother is bowling and then going and puffing a cigarette and drinking a Manhattan. It's not her turn.
Growing up in bowling alleys, my dad bowled, and he was,
I was a bowler.
phenomenal.
My parents
From
too.
Carnival of Randomness, from music to bowling to dwarves, we cover it all for you.
Well, sometimes they.
But now you
intersect.
get together as a band, and I think there are band people, solo people, and a mix. And you sound like band people. You want to be with different people. How do you come about, naturally with the sound, what you want to play? Like, dude, what are you into? What are you into? Oh, you want to play like this?
So yeah, from the very beginning, our kind of mission or goal was original music. I mean, we've all seen the number of cover bands in the area, just to stand out and be different. So, however that came together, and the biggest part of it was probably Evan's guitar tone and his style of playing. We kind of, me and the drummer, and I kind of hold down a rhythm while he kind of goes off. I mean, we all have different influences. His is a big blues influence. But still trying to kind of carve our own path and have our own
it's
sound.
blues with a heavier
I see that,
bend.
from what I've listened to, you're like thrash metal.
Oh yeah, why don't you tell them that story?
Don't say that. Don't,
No, we won't. No, that's a story for you. You have to subscribe to our special fans thing where you pay us like $100,000 to tell you the story. But what I noticed, again, and I'd say this about a lot of bands, part of the reason for this show, too, is we'll support local music of all kinds, but I really respect and appreciate original music. And there was like that, was the meme out lately that New York bans any band that has 2 original songs. And I really appreciate, because you're going to leap out there and you're trying to do your own, and trying to draw people into that. It's tough. Yeah,
I mean, it's what we write is authentic. You know, that's the main thing. Dalton, he's got most of the lyrics to our songs. I write the rest of them for the most part. There's some that were prior. But all those lyrics that we write are important. They mean something to each of us. You know, so we want people to listen to the message.
Right.
At the same time, you know, with Evan's blues background, he's very progressive, in a way that, he wants to be original. He wants to take that bass and so some of our songs can go off into a little bit of a country feel. Other songs kind of are more cosmic and a little psychedelic. But it all comes back to Evan's tone and his blues, which really, I've always been a fan of the blues, and that's always kind of been my vocal style. So when we get in and we have the lyrics and we're like, okay, well this is basically what it should sound like, Evan will just be like, okay, and he'll just start something, and then we all kind of just get into it. And usually, I mean, it's like you said, it's organic and it's authentic. So
it sounds pretty effortless too. It sounds like it just falls together, which is great. I mean, you don't find that too often.
A lot of them.
And you have that nice husky tone to your voice, if that's a good word to use. But I like it. It's that bluesy, you know, you got it, and it just sounds really good, and you get it out there, and you got good range too, and all that. So
I'll give you the immortal advice of the philosopher Bart Simpson: the blues are not about making you feel good; it's about making everybody else feel bad.
That's right.
Well, we got a song called "The Blues Got You." So it's when you're feeling down and dirty, the blues got you. You ain't got the blues. The blues has got you.
And I think partly like singing the blues, though, how do you prepare for it? You live.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think I was actually talking about this with a friend of mine who's a musician a couple of days ago. I see some of these blues artists out there, terrific players, but I'll look through the albums, because it's sort of like almost, I don't want to use the word fake, they're good players, but okay, they haven't lived or something. These are just like sort of standard, like Blues Hammer from...
Yeah, they're technical.
If you've ever seen Ghost World, check out Blues Hammer, the scene with Blues Hammer.
Okay. There's a number of people that are kind of technical, and you can't get that feeling, you know. So I hope we put across the feelings. I mean, our songs are about heartache and loss and betrayal to found love and romance. You know, we run the whole gambit.
Try to stay optimistic.
Yeah, that's very true. Our tunes turn up. You know, if you're having a hard time, somebody's having a situation, you know, it's an optimistic view by the end of the song for the most part.
That's the way. Yeah, it's a good way.
I'm like a Wes Anderson type of person. Look at like where it's bittersweet. And I always tell you, go through peaks and boundaries. In the long term, I don't know what's out there. I don't know what I believe anymore, but things seem like they work out a little, you know?
Yeah. Well,
you go through days where you think it's never going to end.
Yeah, I think if you take all of I think we have, almost 30 original songs.
Yeah.
I think the things are always going to work out as kind of the overall
And I
message,
will say, as we go on weird segues here, I become like a Grateful Dead fan in my later life. I used to get into like one of my friends, she's played with Bob Weird. I put like Grateful Dead on my least like bands. I'll trade you fish for that. And then like my good friend Jeremy Grace, she's like, you look like a Dead. And I'm like, I hate you, Jeremy. And I started listening. You know what it was for me? It was like when I was younger and you'd see like all the stoner hippies and stuff.
Right.
And you have to go into your music tribes in high school. So I was all over the place just because I had music in my family. But, you're in high school, you have to be like, Yo Maiden, which I did like that stuff. Or but I would also like John Coltrane.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was the whole image of, the guys traveling around the country, looking through,
gypsies,
Burger Kings in the garbage or something. And that kind of thing. You go, when they played Hollanders Stadium, seeing a mushroom cloud coming up.
Yeah, struggling always seems really cool till you start doing it.
Grilled cheese sandwiches in your van.
Right.
Oh, the cold, the
dollar grilled cheese sandwich. Those are always the best, though. I used to go to the shows back when Jerry was still in the band, but I wouldn't tour. And for me, the music, I like their music, but it was just more of the scene. I really dug the scene. The optimism there, and there was a lot of camaraderie, and I just dug it. Just that whole.
It's a whole world they created, and everybody shows up, and then there it is.
Yeah, that's kind of why we're in a band, is to that camaraderie and that kind of
fellowship.
And
that's what I'll go back and say about playing your own music. I have some good friends who, they're great musicians, but they've done just cover bands or everything, and I'll go see them, support them, and you could see they're phoning it in. I mean, they're doing great. The people are enjoying it, but you could see they've just sort of, I could do this in my sleep. But there's always, with original music, I always see a passion to it. Always.
I think we're all passionate. I think that's the risk you take, or not the risk we take necessarily, but I think people like to go out and hear live music now and have a few beers and party with their friends. But, it's not a risk to go out and listen to something that you already like. I know I like the 80s. I'm going to go see an 80s band. I know I like Fleetwood Mac, so I'm going to go see this tribute band. There's no risk in that, where you could go see this original band. You're like, I don't know if I'm going to like them. What if I don't like them? I'll just go see this 80s band. And I know how it is, because when I go out, I like to go see the tribute bands and the cover bands too. Those are all great musicians. So it's just a matter of getting people to take the risk. And then when they do, so for us, we get a lot of great feedback. Seeing Cupid's Boomerang last week, I had seen a few videos of you guys, and these guys got it, man. I really dig your music, and I think it's really vibes with our kind of.
Yeah, we'll have to try to do some more stuff together.
Absolutely. Did he do his thing where he sets his drum set on fire?
No, I didn't have the budget.
No, it was on the tracks. He was going upside down in the circles.
That's what I go back to the classic commercial. But Mikey, he likes it. I've been asked so many times, friends are going to go see, bands at the Bricks. They're going to go see an Eagles cover band. Cool, Eagles.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well, my girlfriend loves Down of the Buffalo.
But then when I'll invite you to, a show, for original band. And they just won't. I'm like, why don't you just try it once? What's it going to hurt? You can drink.
Yeah.
So I'll get a friend. There's one of my friends who we basically go see Jason Isbell every time he plays.
Right.
So I finally get him to go out to see Danger Bird. I get there. He's grooving away. He's like, these guys are great. What did I tell you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you know how a lot of people are? You got to fool them. You got to go. You go in there and go, oh, those guys are great. Side-Eye's great. Who are they? Why? Who's at the other show? So make them seem like they discovered it.
Yeah, they're a Guns N' Roses cover band. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Surprise me.
There's an Easter egg in this episode. We're not going to tell you.
We've had, I think, compliments that it's our music. If you're kind of sitting there listening to it, if you're paying attention to it, or you're not kind of staring and really taking it in, it's great. Or if it's playing in the background and you're drinking with your buddies and listening to it, no complaints from that perspective either.
But see, even if you walk away from a show, any kind of show like that, and if all you remember is I had fun when they played, doesn't matter if it was the music that did it or if it was just the vibe with your friend. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like you relate it to a good experience, and that says it all to me. I mean, that's because a lot of times at concerts, what do people say? Oh, man, you should have seen the light show. Oh, man, you should have seen the explosions. Oh, man, yeah, how'd they sound? Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. My 1980s experience with a couple friends of mine, I would get the phone call afterwards. How was the show? It's like, Well, I can see why you didn't know, dude. You're drunk and passed out when it started. You know, everything else.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
Yeah.
You know, there's a couple. I stopped doing that pretty quick though, because I figured, you know, I'm shelling out a whole $12 in those days.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
now, I had my brother saw Led Zeppelin for $3.50.
Really?
Yeah.
I just watched that Becoming Led Zeppelin. I forked over $5 or something to get it out of Amazon or something.
Oh yeah, is
It's
it?
pretty
Is it good? Okay, I've been
lot of interviews.
debating.
Yeah,
on it.
that one I want to see.
I mean, it's not very expensive to get it on.
But
Right.
did you know, like, they wanted Terry Reid originally for vocals?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting. But that they almost fired. The last book I read, I think it was by Mick Wall on them. They almost fired Bonham really early because he was like passing out at gigs and everything else. And they told him, you got to stop doing this.
Yeah, that's something with a lot of that whole self-destructive thing. I never could understand that either. It's like, okay, I struggled all this time to get successful, and now I'm successful, and now I'm going to ruin it.
Well, there's a good story. I've told this before. There's a book called Fargo Rock City. It's about a kid who lived like out in Fargo, obviously, and he said the importance of, here we go again, metal bands that like Kiss and all these, because they would come out and play these faraway regions like Wisconsin, Detroit. So he's going around later, like he writes for Rock Museum, and he goes to meet Cinderella, and he goes, these guys, they're just normal guys. You seem like they're playing cards. So then he meets Guns N' Roses plays, and Slash comes out of his hotel. He's tripping all over.
Yep.
He asks him for an autograph. He burps and throws up. And this guy's real. I mean, I think we're
Yeah,
affected.
those guys are so.
I think what happens is whatever your personality is, you know, some people say rich people are assholes or this or that. No, whatever your personality is, when you get money and fame, it modifies it. So if you have sort of a destructive personality, you can't
Well, that's
handle it or a
true,
big
too.
ego.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
mean, you know, like from the podcast, we've sort of kept it, you know, real.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to get into that self-destruct thing. You get into that self-loathing. I'm not sure why that happens with
Maybe
some of
the
these
buzz, too, like you're playing, you're all wired up, touring, you got to go to the next
people.
city.
And then you can't live up to your own hype or
Yeah,
whatever.
you get to
and
a certain level, and what's next? There's
Right.
nothing
Well,
next
yeah,
at
there's
some
that.
point.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
that's why I respect Rush a lot. I really love Rush. And then their documentary, like Beyond the
On
Lighted
Lighted
Stage,
Stage.
where Gene Simmons is talking about touring with them, and their Kiss is out partying, and Rush
Watching
they're sitting there
TV.
watching TV in
Yeah,
their
I think it
hotel
was the
room.
Twilight Zone, wasn't it? But I'm actually, my claim to fame, 4th of July, when it was like the Time Warp, last time I saw him was at the State Fair. It's like 2010. The one before that, it was at Darien Lake. It was on 4th of July. Time Warp Tour. I ran into Geddy Lee while he was biking on the canal.
No, really.
And
Wow.
you know, now the story would be better if he's like, we started talking, man, I love your albums, I respect you, artistic. Hey, we'll get you backstage. No, our interaction goes as follows. Hi.
Oh. That's kind of, I like that.
But I like that I'm one of those
mysterious,
sort of like, I've come to the point now where I would prefer like not autographs or something like that. I prefer just to talk to him and ask questions.
He's probably one of those people that would have stopped and took 10 minutes.
But like I've
to
read
talk to
Neil's
you.
books, and like Neil,
Yeah.
I would just sort of stay. Like if I said like
Stay away.
this computer, I admire what you've done. Thanks to you. I actually mailed him a book one time. I had a book called Sea Spray and Whiskey because I guess he would accept books,
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
which was cool. But yeah, I admire they stuck to it too. Where after Caress of Steel, they were going to get booted from their label,
Double down.
so they went to 2112.
Yeah.
Let's make a 20-minute
We're going to go out. We're
Yep.
going to go. But I want to get back. Okay, when you start and everything, Buzzo, in terms of like couple things. See, for me, you could tell I babble, and like I've done some film stuff, I do writing. It's all long form. I can't condense like a story into a song or a poem. And I wondered, like, when you started songwriting, how you developed that art. Also, how did it feel to you two, Dalton, about like just something I couldn't do, perform on stage? And Greg, you could chime in on that, obviously, because you play in 100 bands.
Well, as far as the songwriting goes for me, writing lyrics, that's something I've done since I've known how to write. When I was a little kid, I used to I've been writing since I was,
So I've been doing that.
7
I've
years
like,
old.
kept journals for 4
Yeah,
years. But it's all long form.
Well, I would do both. I write stories. I've always been a writer. So it's actually getting it down and getting into a story form. usually I have the song in my head. Something will come up in my head, usually inspired by what I heard on the radio or whatever, and I just kind of have that same beat in my head. I'm like, oh, you know, it'd be cool if they did it this way, and then I start gibberish over that just to kind of find a melody, you know, just saying things that don't make sense, but in tune, and then I'm like, yeah, I like that, and then I'll start to write verses that'll fit, you know, in those lines.
While we're practicing, we'll start jamming, and a lot of our songs come from just jamming together, and he'll start singing kind of gibberish over it, and then it'll form into something. But
right, you got to find the rhythm of where the words are going to go and stuff.
Scrambled eggs.
And out of 10 minutes, you know, out of 10 minutes of gibberish, of nonsense, there's usually like at least 2 good lines that just popped out. You're like, ooh, those are good lines. I'm going to take those out, and I'll put them over here with the other 2 lines that I had this other time. Yeah,
that's kind of, whenever I write songs, it's something will pop into my head. Now in the age of the phone, I can just put it in my notes on my phone.
That's important,
and I said, this could work out for a chorus, add a couple extra lines, and then focus on, what do the verses need to be? Is there a bridge?
Yep.
That's important though, to have something to jot it down, because it's like having something, even like a dream journal, where you get this great idea, then you forget about it. It's like
I can't tell you how many times that's happened.
The amount of times I have something like, oh, that's a hit, and then I can't remember what it is.
And I have a book, and I do that sometimes still. I keep my notebook with me at all times, and there's that one time that comes up, and I'm like, where is it? And I'll be in my chair, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go find it, and then I gotta get a pen. Oh, well, I'll remember it. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I had a couple, issues a few years ago medically, but for some reason, ever since I took, the anesthetic stuff, I still have, cinematic dreams, but I'll have something great I want to remember and write down, and I'll be going through it. Then I drank too much Snapple iced tea, and I gotta wake up. And then you sit out there, and you're like, well, it's only 5 hours to morning. I might be done by then. By the time you try, I gotta get back to sleep. It's gone. You can't remember it.
Yeah.
Well, I had that one line for that one song we did with the Anonymous Willpower. It was the same people from Cupid's, the singer on the keyboard guy. Mm-hmm. I've been playing with them for 15-something years. But I had this idea for a song called Trailer Romance. And it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek, send up of rural relationships.
I like the title already. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know that those 2 words were in my head for 5 years before I finally sat down and said, I got to do something with this. And we finally recorded it, and I'll send it to you sometime.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of funny. A lot of it's a joke.
Isn't
it's
that
a sense
buzz,
of humor
though, when you just you just come up with one line and go, this is really awesome, this line, and maybe it'll come out later. But it's I love just this turn of phrase, something like that.
Yeah,
I love that.
And I'll tell you, if you wanted, Tom Waits did mule variations at a barn, and I think if you lived in a trailer park somewhere, you would have a couple concept albums.
Right.
One of my friends, he retired and he was going around the country, but he found there's a trailer park outside Austin. He's like, I'm not leaving. I found home.
Yeah.
This place is awesome. And I think just the stories.
Well, the phrasing too. I just the other night I sat down and something came to me. And I wrote it down and said, I'm doom scrolling through Google and eating Vietnamese noodles. I'm I gotta write that down.
That is, that is awesome.
Gotta find the
it's
melody.
Like hanging out on 2nd Avenue eating chicken vindaloo.
Because you listen to certain songs and you just go, where did he come up with this stuff? I mean, and that's the same process.
Or you ever hear about David Lee Roth, where they would start and Eddie always said about Dave, he said that he's a very brilliant guy, he just can't connect the dots. Yeah. He would be jamming. He would come in with a grocery bag and be writing lyrics 15 minutes before the song. And they're like, what does that mean? And everybody wants them at the end. What are those lyrics? Damned if I know. What do you want them to mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes they just don't have to mean anything, I think.
That's how, some of the stuff I write, it's don't think about it too much.
I like Dylan's song "Changing of the Guard" from Street Legal. I think it's one of his most underrated songs. So he asked him what it's about. He's like, "Damned if I know."
Yeah, well, sometimes universal concepts are the way to go. Everybody experiences this, that, write about things that everybody knows.
Relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're a game show host, you're not going to be happy all the time. So everybody knows about misery, and that's why I've always said about songs, they have a universal appeal. They're not written for you, but they are in a way, because we all go through this, that.
Yeah, if you have an original idea, that's something that's like maybe only a few people kind of can relate to evolve it to be more relatable to like the masses. It's kind of what.
But even like that, it's cool. Like, but it's like something like that where like only a couple people relate or like a couple people get it. Because
those people were playing all of our music too.
Yeah,
so
right.
That's what
Yeah.
we connect with.
We wrote a song recently called "Have You Had Enough," and we played it out. And we debuted it like about a month ago, and we were asked not to play that again because it was too sad.
Oh God!
Oh, I'm like the wrong person, like here, because like I'll tell some of my friends, a lot of them write what I call bittersweet songs, and I will like sign birthday cards or sign something to them, going, "Don't ever sing happy songs."
Yeah, but you know what? That says something. That says that you really reached out. You reached people with that. I mean,
yeah.
if it created that emotion in people, I would say keep playing it.
Such a well-written song because Evan, our guitar player, wrote that, and it needs. We're gonna try to record it.
Okay.
And we'll play it out, selectively. But
No, I'm gonna be
lyrics, too.
requesting that song.
Okay.
I mean, there's always ways you can.
Then they'll be like, that guy coming around, the weird-looking guy? Throw him out.
I mean, there's always ways you can tweak the message. Have you had enough? Or I've had enough, haven't you? Or you can twist the phrase to make it not quite so.
Well,
It's so good how it is right now,
it's like
though, with how Brian wrote it.
What's interesting is like some songs are very depressing, but nobody knows because of the way they're played. Like
that's true. Yeah.
Hey Ya is very depressing if you listen to the lyrics.
What is?
Hey Ya, Outcast.
Oh.
Or if you listen to the lyrics, what it's really about.
Oh, right.
Or like people would come to Sting about every breath. We use it as a wedding song. That's about Big Brother, right? But anybody who wants to participate, what would you say? Like, pick one would be like the most depressing song you've ever heard. Anyone?
What was that song in the We had joy, we had
Seasons
fun.
of the Sun,
Terry Jack.
I'll give you mine. I mean, mine's
My
easy.
dog died.
I never ask questions. I don't know what I'm going to say. Tom Waits, 4 Sheets to the Wind in Copenhagen, Tom Trober's Blues. Definitely the most depressing.
Sorry seems to be the hardest word to me is this very sad song, Elton John.
What about you?
I listen to positive music.
Shiny happy people for you.
Yeah.
I'm too busy to be sad.
Well, I mean, that's like, are you on sort of the same page? You both all bring like a different thing, like you're all positive, sort of, or like somebody's more like sort of has more like a bittersweet personality, or more like you can see the dark side of things.
We stay pretty positive. I think Evan, maybe out of all of us, our guitar player, he sees the whole spectrum of emotion, and it really you can see it come out in the songs that he writes. He had several songs together before he joined us that we actually write lyrics for and put together as our own, and they're either pain or whatever emotion he was feeling when he was writing it really comes through, and you can feel it. That's kind of how that song, that Have You Had Enough song, came to be, kind of.
That's a great title.
You know what I hope happens down the line, too? Maybe somebody will come up to you, maybe they have, and say, that song really resonated with me, or thanks, I really feel it. Because I've heard, like, we talk about Rush. What we talk about Rush, the past, people have said, that song saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. Have you ever had that happen? It sounds like you might have had something like that happen.
Yeah, well, not saved their lives, but what...
Just
you talking about that guy
really
at Bunsey's, saying he really connected with it? Or?
No, I thought we used to play an open mic at Murph's in Irondequoit.
Oh, yes.
And we play a song called November 13th, which is streaming.
I watched it, actually, last night.
We do it better justice when we play it live, but we had someone come up to us and say that was really kind of profound, and he's been going through some stuff, I believe.
Yeah.
That's a great
talked
jam.
to Buzz about that.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's cool to hear.
I think it makes it all worth it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
People listen more than I think they used to, because I think we have a good original thing around here. I mean, it's become way more acceptable. Like you were saying, the cover band thing, there's enough of them.
Plus what
fine,
they do, too, there's a space for all music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, big shout out to all the venues out there that are giving us a chance to come in and play original music, and we're getting more and more.
Yep.
Each year we're building more places are letting us come in. And
How is it regionally? Because one thing I've noticed, like the Finger Lakes, is it like wineries or cideries are sort of the go-tos, I think.
Yeah, so that was our first. We play in Waterloo at Brian's sister's bar, F&A.
Rhythm and Booze.
That's
and
a great place. I
stage.
played there.
Virginia
stage.
Street, Waterloo, New York.
Yeah, good stage, open to that. But like you said, the Finger Lakes, a lot of wineries and stuff. Yesterday we played at Watershed Brewing in Geneva, right on Seneca Lake. That was our first kind of that kind of vibe of a brewery or winery in that region. And it was kind of the shape of the building and the sound, and it was a great place, cool place to be. The beer was great, but they're used to having solo or trios, small kind of quiet bands.
But playing in that area, I think one of my goals is being that I kind of just reach out there as many venues as possible. To get our music out, you get a lot of people coming up in the summertime from New York City and stuff like that.
Right.
So just to get people from outside the area to hear the music and then to go back and hopefully say, hey, we heard these people, while we're in the Finger Lakes. That's kind of like I think it's a good idea.
And I think that's why it's important to have some stuff to sell, too. I mean, everybody might go, so what? So they take a CD and who cares? But the thing is, if they go back to New York City, it kind of grows exponentially. Their friends hear it, then, well, where can I get that? Or,
Right.
I mean, you never know. It takes time, but it blooms out.
That's the old days of rock, and I think what happens is when you start out, you're not your best because you're just starting out. You
Right.
go back and laugh at, I remember this one.
Mm-hmm.
But you
F&A
grow
is
as
a cool
artists because you've been playing, and you're bonded of all these years of travel and playing. That brings the expertise and everything. And I think that's how, back in the old days, what used to happen, time of the season, it was like a B-side. Some DJ played it with like Iowa or something,
Right.
and it organically grew. And I think that's how word of mouth grows about bands these
Yep.
days. So even with all the things out there and everything else, that's still the way it goes around. Is people are like, you got to go check these guys out. They were awesome.
Or setting a club on fire after your show. That'll probably get you noticed quicker. But
And I always dug, like, when I'd go see friends. These days, I'm looking at my phone. My phone has GPS. Yay, I forgot how to get to Geneseo. But I used to travel all over the place, go to Albany for gigs, all these little towns. Best directions ever from Trevor Lake, the time in Syracuse. Where are you playing? At a Mexican restaurant. Oh, thanks. So I'm driving around. Hey, are there any Mexican restaurants here? There's a band playing at.
we thought nothing of going, like, to, where was it there? What the hell was the name of that place? Tom Jones Club in Lyons. We used to go there all the time to hear bands. And it's Lions. And then you're drinking, you're 18, you're driving back here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a whole different era back then.
Yeah, it's like me now. I'm looking like Irish Smoke
That's an old
Muncies.
club,
It's
dude.
far.
Yeah, it is an old club.
Yeah, but you're
an old guy.
asking our Rochester.
I had the one like I said, I went to Geneseo. I used to go to Geneseo all the time. I'm driving home, going, these roads are dark.
Yeah.
But that just happens when you get a little older, I guess.
Yeah, I think our thought is the benefit of playing like the Finger Lakes region is that exposure out there. Like, we're not going to get people, probably not going to get people driving 50 minutes from Rochester.
Well, I used to do that all the time. I would go.
We have a few.
I would go 4 hours
Yeah.
at the most. But I used to love. But what I loved about that, like, I'd see friends in Weedsport, Albany. I loved, like, you'd see them like how many times. I would love to see the reaction of like people who haven't seen them before, which I always thought was awesome. Like, haha, we have a good thing here.
The nice thing about those outskirts type towns is it's and not to make it a negative statement, but it's usually the only game in town. Some of these bars, they're the focal point.
Yeah.
And that's where people go.
Right.
And if they want to have some fun, that's where they go.
Yeah.
Well, my friend Oz said that, like, growing up in Brockport, he would say when there was a thing there, we all went.
Right.
And I think there is appeal of that. But hey, you got to try to spread the music out. I tell everybody around here, you got to, if you want to do this, you have to keep. You could play here, yes, play here, but you have to keep expanding and expanding.
Yeah, we're taking a trip to Buffalo in July, I think, to, what's it called?
That's always fun.
Nietzsche's.
Oh, yeah,
that's
Nietzsche's is fun. I played that a couple months ago.
And then we're traveling to actually Pennsylvania. So I'm from Meadville, Pennsylvania. So we're actually doing a show down there in September. But that's the same kind of thing. If there's something big going on, a lot of people, there's not that much to do.
Yeah, you do have to branch out a little bit. I mean, I keep trying to tell other bands that, it's like a spoke. Like here's the central where you are is the hub, and you got to start reaching out because everything within 25 minutes. People will drive a half hour to see you. They're not going to drive maybe 2 hours, but they might drive
half hour. They're not like 15 minutes away these days. It's a road.
Well, you know
trip,
what
man.
I'm saying.
That's for me.
Quiet down over there.
Well, if you're going to see Rush, you're going to drive 4 hours. If you're going to see some band that you never heard of before, I'm not going to drive more than 30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
So if you go see Side Eye, you should go at least 5 hours.
You should
There you
should
go.
rent
Yes.
rent a private jet and fill it with all
There
your
it is.
strippers and dwarves. And come out and see
If
us.
they're playing Colorado, go 4 days early, plan your hotel dates
Right.
and everything else, and get down
You're gonna
there.
wanna get
But
in
then
line
find out
early.
it was canceled because of a snowstorm.
Oh man.
No, and I like what I've heard so far too is that I could see you probably don't know what you're going to do from every song to song and album. You don't know what kind of thing. I think that's what I enjoy. It's not going to be same old, same
That's
old.
one thing, yeah.
You're going to
you
grow
listen
like
to-
different. This it's going to be like this.
Even the songs that we have right now streaming, they're not all the same. We kind of have a pretty good variety of sound. We have some kind of heavier ones, some more blues, like straight up blues ones. That's why it's exciting. We're gonna try to get in the studio this fall and do our first kind of full length album because we don't know what's gonna happen. We're gonna try to keep it in one direction, but we might throw in some songs that kind of maybe don't.
You're going to go to the side.
Yeah, maybe.
No, that's
I've always said our music is inspired. It's never really. We don't sit down to do this type of song. It's just whatever comes to us.
Right.
Whatever the universe says. Hey, this is for you guys.
It's honest. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably one reason we kind of mesh so well together is because we don't. Some of the songs are pretty simple, simple melodies and simple grooves, but we don't try to be anything that we're not, and it sounds good, and we're not gonna. If the guitar player makes a mistake, or if I make a mistake, or any of us, it's not the end of the world.
whenever he
We're
does
gonna-
that, whatever like
we're
our
gonna change.
tech deck says, I feel like we're on a plane and we don't have a pilot.
Flying
Can you
in
guys
Newark.
fly?
When you record, when you get to this that state, are you going to try and record live in the room type of thing, or just?
That's what we did at first. So we went to Mount Morris to Gary Holt's studio. We had a great time, but we were only there for about 4 hours, and we kind of got 6 songs that were good enough. We did
Right.
it all live together. I think the next step is to take a lot more time.
Yeah.
If we can get it live and we can get it sounding like we want, we will. But we want to really kind of go back and re-record some parts and really be critical of it this time.
Yeah, definitely get a producer.
Are
to
you
help
like
us.
in terms of? And I think the producer's job, being in studios enough, is they want to bring out the best you sound. That's how you got to do it. Find the producers who do that. But are you more of let's try to get it done in a few takes? Or are you like Stanley Kubrick? Where okay, on take 142, I think. Yeah, maybe we're done.
That's how we were the first time we went to the studio. I think moving forward, we have to be a lot more critical of it and take at least I guess revisit.
Yeah, we were just trying to get
Not too
a
critical,
feel
though.
for how the studio
Not
works.
2000.
Right.
We weren't too concerned necessarily. We wanted to sound good, but we were like, okay, let's just see what this is all about.
Yeah, because it does. It's a different language, and you feel different. You play a little different. I know. When I record, I play a lot more solid. I don't put as many flourishes in, and things like that. I mean, because forever's forever, and once it's on there, it's that you can't unless you go back and do it again.
And I always say this about music: it doesn't belong really to any of us; it belongs to all of us. Where it's out there, it's more than any of us. It's just we try to grab it. But any fatherly advice you could give, since you've been on doing this for like how many years now?
Me?
About like in terms of like going forward, what to expect a little bit when you're starting out.
In general?
Yeah, you just play basically.
Yeah, just get out there. I mean, get out there, play as many things as you can, even if it's like a party or anything. Get your friends involved in coming to hear you. And like I said before, let them do some legwork. Let them say, "Hey, man, these guys are really good. You got to hear them."
And also, hope it doesn't happen to you, but some of those gigs when there's 2 people there are fun. I want to remind everybody the classic story about ZZ Top started out. They had one person, and they bought him a Coke because he stayed for the whole gig.
Yeah, we've had some shows where there haven't been very many people, but one thing we find is that owners of the venues and the wait staff and bartenders love it. They love the music and really enjoy. It's usually something different that they're not hearing every week.
Yeah, no matter
right. That's
what
a big part of it.
When it's an empty room or there's not many people, we kind of take solace in that.
Well,
the people that are working here aren't upset that it's.
But it's like a snowstorm or something.
Right.
Still having a
And
good time.
and it doesn't matter how many people are there. If there's 2 people there or 200 people there, we're going to play to them like there's 2 million people.
Yeah, and
there.
that's the same.
I mean, they're there. You might as well give them what they came for.
We're going to kick their ass.
And that's the attitude I like to see from every band. It's like I saw the Flesh Tones at the Bug Jar. It's like Kenny Rogers packed the Memorial, and it was 34 people. You felt like you were at the show, and they were playing before Madison Square Garden. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But this has been lots of fun, guys.
This has
Thanks
been
for
great.
being on.
I appreciate you having us.
Man. I think you guys got the good game plan. You're honest. It's sincere stuff, and it's gonna keep.
I think we're going into
Thank you.
authenticity. I think all the tracks, the auto tunes, all this stuff's going by the wayside. People want to hear real music, and you're bringing it.
I think that's important, like you said, with staff even. They're sick of it. They've heard all these songs a zillion times. They see people being posers. They see people thinking they're rock stars. And, and plus, if your crowd's there for you, they're going to spend money. And if you can entertain the wait staff or the people that work at you'd be surprised how a bad word from a waitress or a waiter or something, you're sunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. It's always be nice, and I know working at bars, be nice to the staff.
Yep.
And also, I'll just admit my one bias though, because in terms of fake music, all that kind of stuff, I share a birthday with Taylor Swift, and sometimes I get sick of people thinking I'm her. And asking for selfies and stuff. So I have a little bias. I don't want to hate on her.
Yeah.
But, it gets sort of sick. I'll go for a walk.
I'll take the panties.
It's like, hey, I love Fred. I'm like, no, I'm not Taylor. Thank you. But thanks a lot, guys. This has been fun now. We're going to play a song of your choice.
Start with Witchy Ways.
Yep, that's a good one. I remember that one. It's a good one.
How many times has it been called Witchy Woman? Because I called it that.
A few times.
And is there any story behind it? How you came up with this?
You wrote the lyrics, right?
Yeah, so me and Evan wrote the lyrics.
Witch Hunt from Rush.
Evan had a really great guitar riff for it, and it kind of just stuck throughout the whole song. It's kind of an earworm. We really enjoy it. We did have an original singer that was actually a female that wrote some of the verse lyrics, but we had to kind of piece it all together when she stepped aside, and I think it turned out really, really great.
So real quick, I know we're wrapped up, but so have you been playing since high school and all that kind of stuff, or just?
I started playing guitar in high school, maybe middle school, and just trying to play Black Sabbath licks and Rush licks, which is almost impossible.
Yeah.
And moving up here.
Now, and Rush are not really anything special as musicians. I don't see why the problem is. Right. But the only other thing I'll add is it like chicken, egg, or both, where it's like riff, lyrics, song, lyrics, find the music for it, song, or combination.
I think it's a mix of all.
It's a mix
for us.
So one inspires the other usually somehow.
Yeah. Sometimes one comes before the other, and the next time though.
But I started playing bass only out of necessity because our band didn't have my little 3-piece band was 3 guitars. And it
that happens a lot.
Yeah.
I had a nice bass, Fender bass, and I bought a little Fender Rumble amp, and that was the bass.
Those are sweet. Yeah.
Well, we had Metal Dwarfs. Bowling alleys inside eye. Great show on the Carnival. Stay tuned for Witchy Ways.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Temptation, Beach.